standing at your window on a stormy midnight, the rain lashing down like skeletal fingers, and feeling an unblinking gaze from the darkness. Today's tale begins with a tempest that rolls in just before the clock strikes 12, bringing with it more than just torrential rain and howling winds. An ancient urban legend speaks of storms that can breach the veil between worlds, allowing entities that should remain in the shadows to seep into our reality. Many dismiss this as mere superstition, a quaint relic of a bygone era. However, when the whispers start and an unsettling chill permeates the air, the legend takes on a life of its own. The sound of a window creaking open can become an irreversible invitation, a gateway for the darkness to invade. So as the storm clouds gather, take heed, secure your doors, keep your curtains tightly closed, and for your own sake, do not, I repeat, do not open your window during a midnight rainstorm. Welcome to 9 Lives of Fear, a journey into the heart of terror, where the line between reality and nightmare is blurred, and the storm that rages outside becomes the least of your worries.
The clock tower struck 11 as the storm turned violent. Only an hour earlier, the rain had been a soft patter against my bedroom window. Now it battered the glass hard enough to rattle the frame. Wind pressed against the house, probing every weak point as if searching for a way in. I sat on the edge of my bed and stared at the window. Something felt wrong. The room should have been safe. The heater hummed in the corner. My door was locked. The curtains were drawn. Yet a thin chill lingered beneath the warmth crawling along my skin. For hours, I had felt uneasy, restless, in a way I couldn't explain. It was as if something had been circling just beyond the walls. A sharp pressure popped inside my ears. I glanced at the barometer beside the door. My grandfather had kept it there, insisting it was more reliable than any forecast. The needle had dropped too far. A memory surfaced. An old urban legend from school, storms that arrived after midnight weren't just weather. They were openings. Moist air created pathways for things that couldn't cross dry ground. Windows left open weren't mistakes, they were invitations. I had laughed at it back then. Now I didn't. The air had grown heavy with humidity clinging to my skin. Each breath felt heavier, as if the room were filling with something unseen. I checked my phone, 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes to midnight. Outside, the rain intensified, drowning out everything else. It felt like the house had been sealed away from the world, left alone inside the storm. I stood and moved toward the window. Condensation blurred the glass. My reflection looked pale, distant-like, someone watching from the other side. Another memory surfaced, an article I'd once read about atmospheric pressure and moisture acting as bridges between realities. I had ignored it. Now I couldn't. The clock tower chimed. 12 deep notes rolled through the storm. The last note faded and something struck the house. Not thunder. Too precise. Too deliberate. The floor trembled. I froze. The pressure in my ears deepened as if the air were being pulled downward. I turned back to the barometer. The needle had nearly bottomed out. Then the temperature dropped, not gradually, all at once. A wave of cold swept through the room, stealing my breath. The heater still ran, but its warmth felt distant, like it no longer belonged here. Then the thought came, not mine. Open it. It settled inside me as if it had always been there. Just a crack. My hand moved before I decided. I stopped. Fear cut through the haze. This wasn't me. Open it. The whisper pressed closer, no longer just in my mind. Let the cold in. My fingers drifted toward the latch. I tried to pull back, but my arm felt heavy, unresponsive. If it wasn't my what mites, bite, thresholds, invitations. The urban legend returned in fragments. My hand closed around the latch. The metal burned with cold. I tried to release it. I couldn't. The latch clicked. A sharp sound was swallowed by the storm. The window opened an inch. That was enough. Cold air rushed in. Rain mist settled on the sill. At first, it smelled like wet earth. Then something underneath it changed. Metallic. Old. Wrong's stomach tightened. This wasn't just air. I wanted to close the window. I couldn't move. The opening felt larger than it was, like a tear in something fragile. Then I saw the sill. Rainwater pooled in dark streaks, and in it, 5 impressions. My breath stopped. They weren't splashes, they were fingerprints, pressed into the wet wood with an unmistakable shape. But they weren't made from outside, they faced inward, as if something had pressed its hand from inside the room. A slow terror crawled through me. I stepped back. The prints didn't change, didn't fade, they move, but they felt aware. Outside, the storm continued. Inside, something had already crossed in, and I was no longer alone.
Storms have long been the catalyst for legendary tales, perhaps due to the ominous darkness, the sense of isolation, or the eerie feeling that something imperceptible lurks just beyond the fringes of our understanding whenever the world succumbs to the silence of the rain. Conventionally, we view windows as safeguards, barriers that separate us from the unknown threats that may lurk outside. However, what if certain barriers are permeable, working both ways? What if a mere invitation is all it takes to grant passage to something unwanted? The next time a tempestuous night brings rattling winds and rain to your windows after midnight, listen attentively. If you detect a faint whisker seeking entry, recall this cautionary tale. Heed one crucial warning. Under no circumstances should you open your window during a midnight rainstorm. Until we meet again, remain vigilant, stay safe, and keep the lights illuminated. Good night from 9 Lives of Fear. You've survived another tale from 9 Lives of Fear, but don't get comfortable. If the shadows whispered to you tonight, hit like before they whisper again. Share this video with someone who thinks they're brave. Let's see how long their courage lasts. And subscribe, because around here, every click feeds the darkness, and the darkness remembers. Where the shadows linger long after the story ends. Stay scared.